Welcome to my film review for Escape Room. Didn't know much about this movie before I saw it. Hadn't seen any trailers, but you know, with a name like Escape Room, kind of does what it says on the tin. So I had a fair idea what the movie was going to be like. And I hadn't seen any reviews or heard any reviews or anything like that. And I'm pleased I didn't. I went into it not knowing what to expect, and straight away I was pleasantly surprised. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting. It was better, basically. So it was really good. So if you like, if you're the kind of person who likes the movie Saw, then you're gonna love this film, I would suggest. That's the only thing I can really say. That and a Rubik's Cube are the two things that it makes me basically think of, in a good way. So I really enjoyed the movie. Really did. I want to give it an 8 out of 10, but the way I felt about a few things, I can't help but pick films to death sometimes in my mind. Like if something just doesn't make sense, like if somebody lights a cigarette in a hurricane and the lighter lights, but you're supposed to be in a hurricane and you're like, hang on a minute, that isn't... I know movies aren't supposed to necessarily be realistic, but I at least like things in the movie to stack up, you know. And there was a few things in this that kind of frustrated me, where I was thinking, well, you just wouldn't do that, or, you know, if you're too warm, why don't you take your jacket off? If you're too cold, why don't you zip your jacket up? Those kind of things. Not huge. Most people probably wouldn't notice them, but they're the kind of things where I just think, surely your actors would be like, hey, hang on a minute, Mr. Director, I know you haven't told me to do this, but surely if my character is supposed to be this, then I would do that. So there's a few things, a few little gripes where I'm going to knock it down. I'm going to maybe give it a 7.9, 7.8, but a really good movie. I'd strongly recommend going to the cinema to see it. By all means, it's the kind of movie that you could watch at home on DVD and still get a lot of enjoyment out of it. But if you love movies and you like going to the cinema, there's not a great deal out right now, and Escape Room is definitely worth going to the cinema to see, definitely. So, you know, if you're paying a full £10, it's not an absolute blockbuster must see at the movies, but if you're doing your buy one get one free Cineworld, Meerkat Movies Pass, or if you have a Cineworld, or if you're going on if your cinema's maybe only £5, it's an absolute no-brainer. Absolutely, totally worth seeing at the movies. At the cinema, it really was good. Really enjoyed it. I felt a little bit conflicted at the end. I was kind of tossing in my mind between, ooh, I really like this ending, to, hang on a minute, I'm not sure if I do. But it wasn't, you know, enough to spoil the movie, but it had me kind of like tossing and turning in my mind about how I felt towards the end. It certainly was good. It was good at the end. You know, it wasn't like kind of movie where you come out and the ending completely ruins it. It was a pleasing end, but it did have me twisted about how I felt in my mind. So yeah, it probably just knocks it down a small fraction on the point scale. But again, that might not bother most people. I gauged the crowd reaction when I was coming out the movie, and it was a really full screen, and so there was a lot of people leaving, and there was a real energetic buzz about the crowd. You know, like when you've really enjoyed what you've seen, you've had a real experience at the cinema. You know, you're not coming out thinking, right, love, what we're going to have for tea. You're coming out thinking, oh my God, whoa, and you know, you're wanting to straight away talk to your mate about the movie. It had that vibe about it. There was a lot of energy, a lot of a buzz. So I'd say it was a hit. Definitely was a hit. So yeah, definitely one to go and see at the cinema. Probably doesn't matter whereabouts you sit in the screen for this. You could sit at the back. I sat right at the front, as close as I was comfortable with, and I really enjoyed that. I think it was nice to be close, but personally I like being close. If you like being at the back of the movie screen, then yeah, go for it. No reason not to with this. It doesn't have, it's not one of those movies where you need it to be in your face to really get the most out of it. So I wouldn't worry too much. You'd sit anywhere you want. My tip is to not, whatever you do not be late for this movie. It has a start that gets straight into the action, so you don't want to miss the start. Whatever you do not be late for this movie, because it really will spoil the film a little bit. Equally, you could argue that missing the start of the film could also add another twist and another dimension to your experience of the movie. So yeah, if you're going to miss the first 5 minutes, that would make for a very interesting watch. It would give the movie a different dynamic. But if you want to see the movie as the director intended, then make sure you don't miss the start. On that note, at the end of the movie, there is nothing in particular to hang around for. No additional scenes or anything. Once the credit page comes up with the cast, that's it. End of the movie. So yeah, but it was excellent from start to finish. The movie didn't drag at all. It flew by the movie. It's very fast. Well, I say fast paced. What I would say is it gets straight to the point very quickly. So you've got this initial opening sequence, which is full of action, and then there's the introduction to a few characters that doesn't drag on. It's not boring. Get to know the whole life, family sort of thing, family life. It's just a little bit about this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and then the movie brings them all together and the movie starts. And straight away, I really enjoyed the pace of the movie and also the angle that it took. I didn't know what to expect from the movie, and the angle that it took, I was really pleased with. To a certain degree, it reminded me a little bit like Jumanji, the second most recent Jumanji movie that had The Rock in. It made me think of that, the way there was one particular character that was incredibly enthusiastic and kind of like explaining stuff, which was really good, really good. So I really enjoyed that. So yeah, definitely worth seeing at the cinema. I've given it its rank. I'm going to give it about 7.9, I think, out of 10. You can sit anywhere you want in the movie house. You don't necessarily need to stay till the end. Oh, and my additional one that I forgot about on my last review is treats and snacks. It's very loud movie. There's always a lot of noise and stuff going on. So yeah, this is a popcorn muncher. You can definitely get popcorn at this one. It's definitely loud enough for your noisy treats not to be too annoying for your fellow audience members. So that's about all I can really say about this movie. I would absolutely love to talk about the actual movie. But obviously I'm not going to do that. You just need to go and see this movie. If you've seen the trailer, I think you'll know whether you like it or not. If you like I say, your Saw movies, it's not as ridiculously gruesome as the Saw movies. Their USP for me was just how unbelievably gruesome they were, and I loved that. But it's got the kind of the puzzle mode element to Saw, which is really good, really enjoyable, very good movie. Strongly recommend. Anybody could enjoy this movie, I think. Yeah, this movie could be enjoyed by anybody. Obviously, don't take your kids to see it 'cause it's a 15, but it's kind of one for any era, any genre. The people in the audience were very diverse. You had elderly people, younger people. And I think that says it all for who this movie's for, really. So I can't say too much more about it, because I would love to just go right into it and also talk about some of my gripes. But they're only little silly, niggly things. Maybe you'll pick up on them yourself when you watch the movie. A few things that you think, well, hang on a minute, that kind of doesn't make sense. But I'm annoying like that. I annoy myself when even my favourite movies, I pick them to death in my mind at parts. But that's just me. But on the whole, this was an absolutely brilliant movie. Definitely one to go and see at the cinema. And if you miss it at the cinema, it's going to be on for a bit longer, I think. But if you miss it at the cinema, be sure to rent it as soon as you can, because it's definitely worth a watch. Really enjoyable movie. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you on the next review. Thanks for listening.